Welcome to the STAEDTLER Art Sessions with Riaan. In today's exciting edition, I will show you the basics of how to draw a human head. We will look at the structure of the face and how light affects the various planes of the face. Then I will show you how to draw the various parts of the face and how to combine this into a final drawing. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or use the chat box during the live session. Bring your pencils and coffee and let's start drawing heads.
In this session, Riaan will be using the STAEDTLER Lumograph pencils. In part 1, we will take a look at how to break down the head and face into manageable parts. We will use a sphere for the top of the head and cut a disc from the side of it to allow for the temples. Draw a horizontal line through the middle of the sphere and then a vertical line through the temple side. Connect the top and the bottom of the temples with the front of the face. Extend the forehead down into the cheek towards the chin. Then divide the front of the face in half with a vertical line. The back of the jaw is drawn from the base of the disc we cut out of the side of the sphere. Draw a short line down towards the chin. The neck comes out of the back of the head. The front of the neck is close to the chin. Be careful not to draw the neck too thin. Let's see what the head looks like from the front. Start with a sphere shape and then a vertical line in the middle. Chop the sides off the sphere and draw the hairline and the horizontal line of the sphere. The chin will be a third down of the face. Draw the jaw lines down at the sides of the head and halfway between the lower third. Here you can bring the jaw in towards the chin. Let's draw a head that is slightly tilted down. You will see we keep using the same method to lay down landmarks for the features of the face. Here we will turn the head in the other direction and slightly looking up. This method of drawing heads will make it easier to draw the human head. Do this exercise often and vary the head angles. Remember to practice the head from the side as well. You can extend the exercise by giving the head some very basic features. The brows will be in the middle section and will touch the line that divides the sphere in two. The eyes are usually on the halfway line between the top of the head and the chin. The nose base will be on the bottom part of the middle section. The opening of the mouth is found roughly a third up between the chin and the bottom of the nose. The ears will fit in the lower back quarter of the disc we cut off. With this exercise, we keep everything very basic and simple. Don't go overboard with excessive detail. It is meant as practice and not final artwork. Look closely to see where each of the parts of the head is placed on the landmarks we created earlier. In part 2, we will take a closer look at the parts of the face. We will start with the eye. All of these will be done from the frontal view except for the ear. Draw a circle that will represent the eyeball, then a smaller circle that will become the iris. Next, we draw a curve over the top of the iris, covering a bit of the top of it. The curves of the eyelids vary from person to person, and you will need to look at the shape of the eye you are drawing. We are drawing a right eye here. This means the tear gland is located to the right of the eye. The lower lid barely touches the bottom of the iris. There is usually a slight upward curve near the tear gland, but this also varies from person to person. Next, we need to add the fold at the top of the eyelid and to the bottom of the eyelid. The lower fold will be a more softer fold. Draw the eyebrow. Usually it slants upwards to the outside of the face and at the far end bends down again. This bend is normally shorter than the rest of the brow. Draw in the highlight of the eye before you start shading it. Make sure you give the eyelids some thickness. Eyelids are thicker than you think. Fill the inner corner of the eye with the tear gland. If your initial drawing is a bit too dark, use your STAEDTLER putty eraser to make the drawing lighter. Kneadable erasers or putty erasers are less prone to smearing. Use a softer pencil like a STAEDTLER 6B or 8B for the shading. Start with the darkest part like the pupil first. Be careful not to cover the highlight on the eye. Due to the thickness of the upper eyelid, it will cast a shadow on the eye. Gradually make the shading lighter away from the top, but keep the corners of the eye dark to suggest the cursiveness of the eyeball. Add a bit of shading on the lower end of the eye, where the lower lid touches the eye. We will fill the whole iris with shade, making the top and the edges darker. Keep the lower part lighter. The iris is not a flat disc, but covered with fine fibers. Look closely to your reference image and draw the texture into the iris as you see it. It is always better to start your shading light and then gradually make it darker. This way you have control over the values. Here you can see we need to make the shadow on the eye darker. The eyelid fold or crease at the top is quite dark, but lighter as you get closer to the edge of the eyelid. Here it is important to understand the basic forms, especially the sphere. Please go back to these sessions to refresh your memory on the principles of light on each of these. The same principles apply here, but are more complex. The brow line creates a shelf that hangs over the eye and creates a dark shadow in the corner of the eye. There is a bulge to the outside below the eyebrow. Make sure you look closely at your reference to prevent you from making this part too dark. Add shading to the lower eyelid. Fill the base eyebrow first before drawing the fine hair. Keep building up the shades instead of going for the darks too quickly. Try to determine a pattern in which the hair grows from the brow line. It is never just one direction. Another cool trick is to never draw the eyelashes with the tip of the pencil. Rather start with broader strokes and then add a few stray hairs. Eyelashes tend to clump, so drawing individual hair will make it look unnatural. Keep refining your drawing. Noses can vary a lot. The drawing here is very general, but will give you enough information to draw almost any other nose. Draw a ball for the tip of the nose, then the base and the wings on each side of it. Draw the bridge of the nose and the V shape or root of the nose as it blends into the eyebrows. Look at the size and shape of the nostrils of your reference. This will vary from person to person. Draw the base of the septum. Now we can start shading the nose. It is again very important to understand basic forms. The bridge of the nose can be seen as a cylinder, the tip of the nose as a ball, and the wings as cone shapes. To make the nose more prominent, we need to make the sides darker and the tip of the nose lighter. Keep the lighting principles in mind, like highlights, form shadow, and reflected light. The mouth is not that difficult to draw, but it is wise to understand the lighting principles of a cylinder. Draw a horizontal line for the mouth. Then draw a cupid's bow for the opening of the mouth. Use the horizontal line to make sure the shape looks correct. Draw the line for the upper lip. Then a line for the bottom lip. When shading, rather start lighter than too dark in the beginning. You can always make it darker later. Make the upper lip darker where the lips part. Make the lower lip a lot darker where it meets the upper lip. This will create the illusion of reflected light on the upper lip. shade the shadow and add shading to the lower part of the lower lip. We will create a strong highlight on the middle part of the lower lip. Leave this area white for now. Make the edge of the upper lip more pronounced. Add fine creases to the lips. To make the lower lip pop out, create a dark shadow at the bottom of the lower lip. Remember, the chin will have a highlight, and this means the shadow of the lower lip will almost look like an hourglass. Deepen the corners of the mouth with more shading. Add more detail to the outside of the lips as you see fit. The ear is a rather complex shape to create, but once you understand the structure, it becomes easier to draw. To begin, we draw two circles, a large one at the top and a smaller one for the earlobe. The ear can be simplified into a question mark and the letter Y. Once you can see and identify the symbols of the ear, it will be easier to draw. The ear is more complex to shade and far more difficult to explain in words. The best is to have a good understanding of the basic forms and the lighting principles of each of them. This should guide you well when you start to shade the ear. Let's put our knowledge to the test. We will only focus on the face for now. We will discuss hair and fur another session. Let us start with a big circle for the top of the head. Then draw a vertical line from the top to the bottom. Extend this vertical line to where the chin will be. The chin is more or less 1/3 down. The opening of the mouth will be placed in the lower region and the chin will fill the lower third. We now need to place the eye halfway between the top of the head and the chin. Draw a horizontal line to place the eye on. Cut the sides of the sphere to indicate where the temples will be. The nose will be on the bottom of the circle. Find the middle of the eye line between the temples and the center line. Then divide it again to find the corners of the eyes. Draw the eyeballs in. You will see that you can fit one eye between the eyes. Usually the nose is as wide as the eyes are apart. The mouth is roughly as wide as the middle of the eyes. The jaw juts out almost in line with the mouth if you view the face directly from the front. Now, using what we have learned so far, start to add all the elements of the face. Spend some time to perfect your drawing before you start shading. If your drawing has flaws, the shading will exaggerate it. Use a putty eraser to lighten the drawing before shading. Carefully and lightly start to shade the face. Look closely at your reference drawing to see where all the dark shadows are and where the strongest highlights are. Keep an eye out for the reflected light, like under the brows, the nose, mouth, and under the chin and jaw. We hope you enjoyed this rather complex subject. It is not easy drawing humans, but with lots of practice, you will master it quickly.